At the end of the 1990s, a storm broke out, which brought rich people and investors from all over the world to the streets overnight. People not only lost their money, but also their homes, jobs, respect, and their future. This is the story of the time when the word .com was working like magic. Earlier, this word made people billionaires overnight, and then this word became their ruin. This is the story of the storm of technology, which the world knows today as the .com bubble. But if you pay a little attention, you will see a similar technology storm happening in 2025. Viewers, every big revolution starts with a small spark. The spark of the .com bubble was a computer program called Mosaic. In 1993, when the internet was a colorless place, there were only text-based browsers. Mosaic showed the world a magician. It was the first web browser to show pictures along with text. It was the first spark of the early days of the internet. After this, the internet became alive. Colorless pages slowly began to become colorful. Behind this magic was a young programmer named Mark Anderson. He and his team realized that they had done a great job. They set up their own company and named it Netscape. In August 1995, Netscape did what shook Wall Street and the entire stock market. They decided to sell their company's shares to the public, which is called IPO. Initially, they sold one share of their company for 28. But as soon as the market opened, the same share of Netscape was surprisingly 75 and closed at 58. A company that was not even making a good profit, only a browser made it the owner of 290 crore overnight. But this success was not only of Netscape. Those who bought a 28 share in the IPO, their investment doubled in just one day. For investors around the world, this was a sign that if a company's name has a .com at the end, its valuation can touch the sky. Then no doubt that company is not even making a profit. This sign gave birth to a new thought that profit is optional, growth is king. That is, whether the company makes a profit or not, but its share price should increase. Then what people started buying shares of every company that had a .com at the end. Not to get the company's profit share, but to enjoy its growth as the share price increased. After Netscape's success, the .com gold rush began. Every internet company was starting. Venture capitalists, i.e. those who invest in new companies, were closing their eyes and investing blindly on anyone. Someone created a company to sell pets toys and accessories and named it pets.com. Someone opened a fashion store and named it boo.com. Similarly, a company called Webvan.com opened to order œtoys.com and online groceries. It got so big that in just 2 to 4 years, in the year 1999, 457 companies launched their IPOs, most of which were .com companies. And their shares started going up by 80 to 90% on the very first day. This was the time when everyone was becoming rich for no reason. A common man who knew nothing about the stock market was also investing in the stocks of .com companies. This is called madness or madness. But at that time, the chairman of the American Central Bank, Alan Greenspan, named it irrational exuberance. He pointed out that greed has increased to an extreme in the market and it is like a bubble that is being filled with air. And now it can burst at any time. But everyone was getting a lot of benefit at that time, so everyone made fun of him. FOMO, i.e. fear of missing out, was dominant on everyone. The CEOs of the companies were considering themselves rock stars. There was a company, VEVO.com, which sold online fashion items. In just 6 months, they burned $188 million in just entertainment. There was another company, Pixilon, which spent $16 million on the performance of famous bands at its launch party in Las Vegas. There were many such companies that neither had a business model nor were they worth that much. But they did their marketing by having expensive parties, not to sell their products, but to sell their shares. All these companies were alive only until new investors were coming. For example, in June 1999, in the middle of San Francisco Bay Area, an online grocery service company opened its first delivery center. This company called Webvan was also part of the dot-com bubble and became very famous in the early days. They sold 32 crore shares of their 32 crore shares in IPO for 15. With that money, they opened delivery vans, warehouses, and many delivery stores. To attract new investors, they also hired an executive from Apple. This gave the market an impression that this company's future is very bright. Seeing all this, investors from all over the world started buying stocks from Webvan. Reimagined. As time went by, the price of Webvan stocks doubled and the company's total value reached 1,000 crore at that time. Everything was going well, but slowly this balloon was about to burst. Many things played an important role in the burst of this dot-com bubble. The first was the fear of the year 2000. At the end of 1999, a fear spread in the world, which was named the Y2K bug. People were afraid that as soon as the year will be 2000 from 1999, the old computer systems will go back to 1900 and everything will crash. Banks, electricity, transport, everything will go wrong. Nothing like this happened, but this fear created a strange anxiety in the market. And people started selling stocks before 2000. This was the first spike in this balloon. The second spike was an increase in the interest rate. In February 2000, Alan Greenspan, who was the chairman of the Federal Reserve, took a step that broke the back of the stock market. He increased interest rates, which meant that now interest rates would have to be given more when taking a loan from the bank. Or if money is kept in the bank, you will get more profit. Because of this, people started taking money out of stocks and putting it in banks, because they will get more monthly interest on it. Dot-com companies, which were alive on new investors, now their old investors also started running slowly. And then the last nail in the coffin was hit by Japan. At that time, Japan was considered the king of the world of technology. And in March 2000, Japan announced that its economy was on the verge of downfall. This gave the market the impression that if Japan's hands and feet have also cooled down, then what will happen to us? It was just a matter of time before people started selling risky stocks. And what were the most risky stocks at that time? Absolutely right, dot-com stocks. Licensing reimagined. Now there were three holes in the balloon. Most tech companies on the Nasdaq stock exchange started crashing badly. And then it took the shape of a domino effect or a chain reaction. In March 2000, the index was above 5,000 points. In the next 2 years, it fell to 80% and came to only 1,000 points. This meant that if you had invested 10 lakh rupees, now their value was only 2 lakh. In this whole storm, $1.75 trillion, which is about 2,000 crore rupees, were blown out of the market. Those companies that were billions of dollars until yesterday, their value was equal to garbage. Thousands of companies like Pets.com, Webvan.com, eToys, and BOO.com had to shut down. In addition to this, hundreds of thousands of people lost their jobs. Those who thought they were geniuses until yesterday, were now forced to hide their faces. Dot-com's dream had turned into a terrible dream. But from this pile of ashes, some companies emerged that not only survived, but were going to rule the world in the future. These companies were Amazon, Google, eBay, and Apple. Because they had something that most .com
Music
companies did not
licensing
have.
reimagined.
Yes, a solid business model. Experts say that it is easy to blame only .com companies. The real culprits were those capital markets, investment banks, and venture capitalists who blew this fire in their greed. .com bubble was an important and painful lesson in the history of the internet. It taught the world that no matter how revolutionary the technology is, the basic principles of business always remain the same. But it is surprising that perhaps the world could not learn a lesson from this 25-year-old storm. Today, in 2025, new technologies such as crypto and AI are also seen with almost the same enthusiasm as was seen in the era of .com.
Music licensing
Today, every
reimagined.
small and large company is collecting a lot of investment by putting the words of AI and blockchain in front of it. While in reality, most of them have no link with AI. A winning example of this is Builder.ai. In 2023, there was a grand party at a 5-star hotel in Vietnam, which included famous personalities from all over the world. It was a chance to start a new technology, which claimed that it would create apps without any coding with the help of AI. The name of this company was Builder.ai. Hearing this dream, big investors, including Microsoft and SoftBank, donated $250 million in funding in one day. Soon, the company's valuation reached $150 million, and everyone began to consider this technology as the future of AI. But there was another story behind this veil of AI. When this company was investigated, it was found that these apps were not actually being made by AI, but were being made by human engineers in countries like India, Vietnam, and Romania. Builder.ai was just a front in the name of AI. In addition, the company was accused of round-trip billing, where they were showing false transactions and showing more of their revenue. When all these secrets were revealed, this story seemed like a .com bubble. And now a fraud investigation is underway on this company. Have we learned a lesson from history, or are we moving towards a new and perhaps even bigger bubble? What is your opinion on this? Do let me know in the comment section. I hope you will like and share this video of VEVO Explore. See you in the next great video.